Hey, y'all. What's up? What's up? What's up? This is Coach Paul. God has qualified me, and I'm bringing to y'all another one of these Move Monday episodes. I'm going to get to the point. Listen, y'all. If you don't move it, it's going to move you. That, my friends, is a promise. All right. Let me get to the content of the day. So, yesterday, as I was going about my daily duties of maximizing my potential, adding value not only to my life, but to others, moving deeper into the greatness that God has put in me, and all of these other things that has to go on in my days. A thought had came to my mind, and I'm a thinker. And so when the thought had came to my mind, and it was tugging on me so much that I had to make sure that I didn't forget what this thought was. So I put it in my notes, and this is what it reads. Everything about you says that you are supposed to be living on Greatness Boulevard. But you go on Mediocre Street and Ordinary Avenue, buy up the whole block, anchor there, and then get mad because of the way your life is. To add to that, you won't even move. That's what we're going to be talking about today. How we fashion ourselves around living on Mediocre Street and Ordinary Avenue when we are called to Greatness Boulevard, and then we see the results of our lives being ordinary and mediocre while other people are walking in their greatness and we mad at them. But we won't even move from where it is that we are, that we know is causing us to be discontented with whatever our lives are looking like. How do I know? I've been there and done it. Not anymore, but I've been there and done it. And many of you out there listening to this episode of Move Mondays, y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. And what we're going to do today, we're going to have this, talk about this stuff so that we can put it in you to help you move. Because again, you have greatness in you, and I'm going to prove it. The Bible tells us, and I mentioned this before in a couple of my other podcasts, a couple of my other episodes. The Bible says that God blew the breath of life into us and we became a living being, right? Now watch this. Watch this. God is greatness. Absolutely. There's no question, no doubt. God is greatness. We have greatness. God is greatness. So if God is greatness, God being greatness, and he put some of him in you and me, we have some of that greatness that's in him in us. But we choose to live in mediocrity and be ordinary. Then be mad not only because of where we live or the way our life is going, but we mad because somebody else's life looks like what greatness is supposed to be. We got to stop that. So that's what I want to talk about today, in hopes that something can be said to you, me, and everybody else who is listening to this episode that will make you move. Because like I said in the beginning, if you don't move it, it's going to move you. That's how it goes. Let me drink a little bit more water. I think I'm drinking more water today than any episode I ever did. Now, again, I got to start at the top. God. Got to start at the top. God is calling us to greatness in terms of relationship with him. But like I said, I don't want anyone to think that I'm on here talking about anyone. I'm just bringing awareness because I have been guilty of this same thing. This is one of the reasons why I feel like it was dropped in my spirit to talk about so that we can assist one another. Packing up the furniture, selling the whole block, and moving to Greatness Boulevard because that's where we are supposed to be, y'all. I promise you. Now, let me go ahead. So, again, God is calling us to greatness in terms of relationship with him. But we settle, this is how we settle for mediocrity, a mediocre relationship, or an ordinary relationship with God. This is how we settle. Me and God got our own thing. We only pray when we want something. We don't pick up our Bible and study our word. There are too many ways nowadays that we have access to be able to study and know what the word of God says to us. But many of us won't even pick it up. Watch this. Here's a nugget. But we mad at the people who preaching the word and bringing the word because they are living in their lives look like prosperity. Their lives looking like greatness. We get on these social media platforms. Again, this. I'm going off a little bit. I'm coming back, but I gotta say this. We get on, we see these people who are out there preaching the message, bringing the word, and they, their lives are, they prospering. They walking in greatness in many ways and in many areas of their lives. This is how ordinary we are. The first thing that we can find to talk about them, we quick to do that. The first thing that we can find to talk about them, we quick to do that. And let me say this to y'all. Y'all got to be careful about the tongues that y'all putting on these people. Because a lot of these people that y'all out here talking about, they're God's anointed. They may be right. They may be doing right. They may be doing wrong. They still God's anointed. And he said it in his word that any tongue that stands up against you in judgment, thou shalt condemn. So you need to stop talking about those people who are walking in their greatness, again, whether they right or wrong, and pray for them. Watch this. That's a form of greatness in terms of our relationship with God. I can walk better in my greatness if I'm praying for you than I would if I'm talking about you. Oh, wait, I just said something crazy. That's all right. Y'all to get it. So again, the first form of greatness we have to do that's going to keep us off mediocre street and ordinary avenue is to get into that right relationship with God. You have to move on that. That's not an option. That's a must. Okay, let me go to the next one. In terms of our relationships with ourselves, because see, let me say this. If I know, first, Les Brown said it like this. He said, borrow someone else's belief in you until you can get your own. So if I've been living on Ordinary Avenue and somebody came around to my house or Mediocre Street, somebody came to me and said, hey, you got some greatness in you. Why are you here? You have some greatness in you. Let's move here. I'll pay less attention to that than I would if somebody came and called me a bad word. I'll believe that more than I'll believe if somebody came and told me that I had greatness in me. Excuse me. And I'm here to tell you, you have to move those negative thoughts out, because those negative thoughts are the ones that's getting in the way and staying in the way of you living on Greatness Boulevard. So again, my relationship with me is mediocre because first and foremost, I may not even know who I am, and I don't even believe enough in me that I can have better, that I can have more, that I can have and be on another level in life. I don't believe in myself that enough to do that, right? To walk in that, to even pursue that. And many of you out there are doing the exact same thing. And I'm here to tell you, men and women who are listening to this episode of Kick Your Butt Out, Move Mondays, whichever one you want to call them, you have greatness in you. You have to walk in your greatness. We need you to walk in your greatness. We need you to believe in the abilities, the talents, the gifts that you have within inside of you, because we need you to do your part. We need you to be that part of the puzzle that you are, so that we can make this thing look good the way it's supposed to look, and make this thing be complete the way that it's supposed to be. But it's not going to be that way if you continue to stay away from your greatness. So somebody said it like this: the greatest investment that you will ever do is the one that you do in yourself. The greatest investment that you'll ever do is the one that you will do in yourself. So the first form of your investment in you need to be a relationship with God, and start to build a healthy relationship with you. Will Smith said it like this: the ones who say they can and the ones who say they can't are usually right. So if you want to continue to live on mediocre street, ordinary avenue, keep believing that you can. But if you want Greatness Boulevard, where you belong, where you were destined and predestined to be, start saying you can. I promise you all, according to society, according to the way society speaks about people, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm not supposed to be doing none of this stuff that I am doing. I'm supposed to either be dead or up under a bridge somewhere as my place of residence, living on the street as my place of residence, if I'm alive, according to what society says. But because I was exposed to Greatness Boulevard, here I am today. I'm buying up the whole block. And I want to help somebody else, because listen, they told me the only way that I could keep my greatness is by giving it away. So I got to share this. And this is what I'm doing. I'm trying to share this. You have to build a healthy relationship with God. You have to build a greatness relationship with God, and you have to build a greatness relationship with yourself. Because once you start to do that, what's going to happen? Me and my brother was talking about it the other day, about you attract the energy that you put off. Paula Abdul had made a song talking about opposites attract, and I always use that. I always use that when I'm doing my motivational talks with people in treatment centers or children at schools, or even in the prison system where I do ministry. I always talk about that song. I refer to that song when she said opposites attract, and I always tell y'all that's a lie. You're going to attract the people that you are. You're going to attract the energy that you generate. You're going to attract those type of people. And so what's important for each and every one of us to, again, we're talking about living on Greatness Boulevard. The way you are is what you're going to attract. So if you are walking in your greatness, you're going to attract people who are doing the same. Watch this. People who are doing the same thing, or people that you're supposed to feed that's hungry enough to do the same thing. That's what you're going to try 100% of the time. not 100%, because you're going to have some ones that's going to try to come in, that's walking in mediocrity or living ordinary lives, that's going to try to infiltrate. And you will see, watch this, because you know what healthy relationships look like, due to the fact that you walking in the greatness of what healthy relationships are, you're going to see that a mile away. And you'll be able to head it off by saying, okay, I see you. Now, if you want to be a part of this, this is how you going to have to move. If not, but watch this. If you living on Ordinary Avenue and Mediocre Street, you're not going to see it coming. Why? Because that's what you're doing. You live in mediocre. You living in mediocrity in an ordinary life, and you're going to attract those type of people. And those type of people, always, they going to, watch this. Again, I'm not talking about nobody, but those type of people, that type of energy, they do nothing and they talk about everybody else who is. We'll make sure y'all understand that. So now, again, I have to build a healthy relationship with God. I have to build a healthy relationship with myself. And then I'm going to start to attract healthy relationships with healthy people who are walking in their greatness. The communities that I'm gonna be around is gonna be people who watch this, who's hungry for the greatness or already eating it. Those are the communities I'm gonna be around, because see, one of the things I want you all to understand is greatness is about, and my brothers, we talked about this the other day. He said, there's a difference between being available and adding value. Anybody could be available, but everybody can't add value. So part of our greatness is going to tell us, watch this, if we on Greatness Boulevard, or to get to Greatness Boulevard, you're going to have to add value and be around people who are adding value. You can't be around people who's just available. Nothing bad about the people who's just available. They okay. I'm not saying that they bad. I'm not saying that they are bad people. Please, you all, don't think that I'm trying to judge or talk about anybody. I just got to help us to understand that there are streets and avenues and boulevards, meaning that there are categories that has to go on in our lives. And so the people on Ordinary Street has to be in the Ordinary Street category. The people on Greatness Boulevard has to be in the Greatness Boulevard category. The people who are just available, we have to keep them in the available people category. The people who are adding value, we have to put them in the adding value category. It has to be that way. We can't lump them all together and think that we're going to still be on Greatness Boulevard. We can't. It's almost like, watch this. It's almost like I'm a person in long-term recovery. There's no way that I can go into a dope house trying to save nobody. I can't do that. I'll end up living on Ordinary Avenue and Mediocre Street. But I can lead somebody to Greatness Boulevard and add value to their lives. You can do the same thing because you have greatness in you. And so again, I said it at the beginning, if you don't move it, it's going to move you. And in some of these cases, the person that you have to move first is you. And when I'm not talking about moving from a physical standpoint from A to B. I'm talking about because of the fact that The ordinary you is standing in, watch it. No. Let me say it like this. The you that you are is standing in the way of the you that you were created to be. He's standing in the way. She's standing in the way. She's standing in the way. And what you and I have to do is whoever that you are is that's blocking the you that you're supposed to be or that you're meant to be, we got to move them. So what did I just say? Sometimes you got to move out your own way. Yeah, we got to move certain people, certain places, certain things, certain geographic locations. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Somebody said it to me like this years ago. They said, wherever you go, there you are. So you can move off Ordinary Avenue and Mediocre Street and call yourself moving to Greatness Boulevard. But if you take that same you with you, guess what? Guess what you going back to? I remember, watch this. Watch this. So profound but simple. I remember years ago when we moved out of the projects of Chicago, we moved into a better community compared to where we lived at. It was Greatness Boulevard. Let me say that. Compared to where we came from, it was Greatness Boulevard. Let me tell you how many times I went back to visit Mediocre Street. 0. Before we moved out the projects, there were many people who moved out the projects and moved to better communities. And you couldn't tell that they moved because they stayed over in the projects so much that you thought that they were still living there. Some of our lives are just like that. We've moved, but we are, watch this. We are in such an unhealthy relationship with our greatness that we'll go back and hang out on Ordinary Avenue and Mediocre Street and then wonder why we are stagnated, wonder why we're not growing. Listen, it's so many ways. If you really sat back and thought about your life, whether it's your spiritual walk, your mental walk, your emotional walk, your physical walk, your community walk, your occupational walk, your financial walk, you can just sit back and take a look at those areas of your life, because every last one of us has all of those areas. If you take a look at all of those areas of your life and greatness is not upon each and every one of them, you need to move. Because, watch this, due to the fact that all of those are our makeup, all of those need to have a healthy balance. All of those need to have a healthy relationship with one another. In order for us to operate in our greatness and stay in the greatness that has been put within each and every one of us. Listen, if they are unhealthy, if they are unbalanced, you going back to Ordinary Avenue. They may be unhealthy or unbalanced because you still hanging on Ordinary Avenue and Mediocre Boulevard, mediocre Street, not Boulevard. Maybe that's why they off balanced. So people, I can't say it enough. I can't say it enough how important it is for us to really take a moment and sit back and think about where we're living. Where we're living. We got to sit down and think about that, because I promise you, many of us, we need to get kicked out. We need eviction notices. We need to sell. Listen, and sometimes when recessions go on and houses are sold for less than what they would be outside of a recession. They call it a short sale. When you have to hurry up and sell your house and lose money, they call it a short sale. Many of you out there, men and women, need to do some short sales and move. Get rid of it. Get off the block. Get out of that neighborhood. Get out of that community. Get out of that mindset. They used to say it when we were young. They said you can take a person out of the projects, but you can't take the projects out of a person. I'm glad that even though I lived in the projects for 13 years, the projects wasn't in me. I'm so grateful because, like I said, the minute we moved was the last minute that they saw me. I never went back. And so why did I say that? I'm saying this. I'm saying it to say this. You can take ordinary out of the person, but you can't take you can take the person out of ordinary, but you can't take ordinary out the person. You can take the person out of mediocrity, but you can't take mediocrity out of the person. That person has to move that themselves. Now, we can help. We can help. We could assist. But, if you look at my logo for Maximum You Coaching, it's one guy helping the other guy up to the top of the hill. It's not a guy pulling a guy down the hill. It's a guy pulling a guy up. That's what greatness is about. I want to help pull somebody up to the top of the hill too. Because look, let me say this to y'all. Let me say this, y'all. I want y'all to hear this. There's room up there for all us. There's room up there for all of us. And all you got to do is come on, let's move. I can't allow myself to grasp a hold of someone's hand that wants to pull me down into mediocrity. I can't do that. So if that's you, I'm sorry, but I can't hold your hand. I can't allow myself to hold onto someone's hand that wants to pull me back into ordinary and the status quo. If that's you, I'm sorry, but I have to let you go. Now, if you want to come up here where we at, let's roll. I said it like this yesterday when I spoke to the guys at the treatment center. I say, I will ride with you until the wheels fall off. And when those wheels fall off, we're going to go get some more. We're not going to stop. We're going to go and get some more, and we're going to keep this thing moving. But you have to have a mindset of greatness. You have to have a heart of greatness. You have to have a spirit of greatness and moving towards it consistently every single day. Listen, and I'm going to shut it down after this. I do motivational speaking at a treatment center for people with addictions, right? And I go there every single time that I'm scheduled to go there. I go there Mondays and Wednesdays. I go there every single time that I'm scheduled to go there. It doesn't matter the holidays. And the reason why I say this, I tell them, because addiction don't take off holidays and recovery don't take off holidays. So I'm not. Same with greatness. Greatness don't take off holidays. Greatness don't take vacations. Greatness don't take none of that. Greatness has to happen 365 days a year in order for you and me to stay where we're supposed to be living at. It's just that simple. With that being said, listen, y'all, I love every last one of y'all. There's absolutely nothing that you can do about it. Until next time we meet, I strongly encourage you to be well, do the next right thing. God bless you all. And if you're looking for a butt, it's going to always be easy to find one. That, my friends, is a promise This is Coach Paul. Deuces.